Hey, welcome back to Rock Stardust. My name is Robbie. Today we're going to have a look at The Raven. It's the fourth album by the Stranglers, released on the 21st of September 1979. It was really ambitious, and it shared, the subject matter was around things like, Norse mythology, Japanese ritual sacrifice, heroin, genetic engineering, and even Iranian revolution. It covered a lot of different things, and the band really made an outstanding record here. Many fans and critics' absolute favorite. It's one of my personal favorites, and I just wanted to look more deeper into the subject matter. And I was looking into, when I was researching, I was doing a lot of looking into stranglers.co.uk as well. They had a really cool interview with JJ Burnels there. So I just want to take some of the best pieces of that and share those with you, those antidotes with JJ Burnels. And just before we get into it, please do remember to like and subscribe. So the subject matter drew on experiences on the road, promoting the Black and White album there. They had traveled far and wide, broadening their views on the world, doing a lot of traveling, starting off in 1979, visited Japan and the Antipodes, down to Australia. JJ recalled, we didn't know what to expect, but we found all kinds of different receptions in different countries, and it fueled our songwriting. So we had a great experience in Australia, getting attacked, boycotted, punch-ups, fantastic. It was the first and only time I'd ended up with 7 women in my bedroom. Hugh was sick at the time. It was a great experience for a young guy, I reckon. And it was what I thought the Stranglers should be about. Wow, it's awesome. And inspired by their travels, ideas for lyrics came from visits to also Los Angeles, obviously that Queensland infamous trip, which I'll get into, and Nippon, Japan. Also things in the news, like there was all this news about the Ayatollah, and closer to home more things like genetics, important issues like posh birds and heroin. Okay. So according to JJ, the inspiration for the Raven and tracks came from traveling and reading books. He said we were voracious readers and would share our books. Jet would be sharing his UFO and religious sort of obsessions, and Hugh was reading more about the conspiracy to get the whole of the West drugged up by Iranians who were going through a revolution at the time. So JJ confesses, we were traveling around getting arrested in Australia. Suddenly everything was happening, absorbing the experiences and writing about it. There were a lot of political things and themes fueling our songwriting. And there's a return to eugenics now that, the human genome has been mapped out. There are a lot of subjects on the Raven that are still valid now. And the band, due to tax reasons, chose to record the album at Path Masoni Studios in Paris. At the time, the Thatcher regime were charging 93% tax on earnings. So it was just nonsensical to stay in the UK when you could make a bit of profit overseas. The Stones and lots of bands had done that, but it also brought with benefits, as JJ says, like a different set of influences, censors, and other girls as well. And the tapes were taken back to Air Studios in London, where Steve Churchyard joined forces, and he did a lot of work moving forward with the band as well, just helping with the engineering. So the key tracks for me, you've got The Duchess is a great song. It's the first single about a posh girl, and a lot of background there about, knowing her ancestry and believing that she was a duchess, and all of that came out at the time. So it was interesting stuff, and Hugh was right into that. Great song. And the video was filmed in Hampstead Church, where they wore, choir boy attire. But pretty soon the wrath of the church made sure that was banned. So, and the second single, Nuclear Device, was about sort of J. Bjelke Peterson. It's also known as Wizard of Oz, who was the premier in Queensland, who ruled with an iron fist and really turned it into a police state. And the third single was Don't Bring Home Harry, which was all about heroin. And the album peaked at number 4, and fans and critics absolutely loved it. So another classic story, as told by JJ, going back to that nuclear device, it's something like, it sounds like something that comes out of, like the old school Alabama days, So that John Bielka Peterson, he was a Queensland premier, and he turned Queensland into a police state, as I was saying. So the band got arrested by these thugs. We got attacked on stage, and I didn't know at the time, but this guy was a cop, and he was being very aggressive, and was trying to beat me up. So I defended myself and punched him, and I had to him, and as a result, they had to cross the state line to escape, But look, in summary, the JJ's reflections, the songwriting is pretty good, he says. It's in his top 3 Stranglers albums. I've touched on another one, which is one of his particular favourites. But it does take you on a journey. They're really proud of that. And the Raven itself is a great track by itself. He loves Genetics, as it's great fun to play. And Baroque Bordello is an absolute masterpiece, which I agree. It is an incredible song. And that actually was inspired by a week they spent in a manor in Italy, an old manor there. So an absolutely stunning album. The artwork is mesmerizing. I knew from being just a young fella, the way that Raven looks at you, and that sort of 3D image is very intense, and a bit spooky. And on the back you've got the Viking ship there with the guys on it, and it's just absolutely brilliantly done. So great album. Just a little bit of background on what inspired it. Hey, if you enjoy this kind of material, please do like and subscribe. Helps grow the channel. Really appreciate that, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.